Why did the industrialists cross the road? To get to the other factory. Alright, so we're back. Welcome back. We're here playing Japan in Victoria 3, and last episode, we had a bit of a pop-off. We finally got onto proportional taxation, and after getting onto proportional taxation, we doubled construction up from around 380 to 765, hoping for this episode, kind of our plan is to try and get to 1,000 construction, somewhere in this neighborhood, in addition to supporting, you know, the level 51 university that we are currently cranking up here in order to try and catch up on tech. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It looks like you're losing money, and you're right, except we got this thing coming on up. I'm hoping that we build kind of enough of a reserve between the investment pool reserve and the gold reserve to maybe blunt this and grow into this, but we are potentially going to have to downsize construction just a little bit, which is okay. We don't want to run a huge deficit because we are an unrecognized power. We are an unrecognized major power, making money moves. We are currently going to be expanding pretty quick over here in Africa, and I think that as far as the technology plan goes, we're going to go dynamite, and then we already have shift work, which is going to texture our play as well. We're going to be trying to 51 some things, and so we're going to go dynamite into maybe rotary valve engine into electrical capacitors, because this is not spreading to us anyways, and so this is a little bit kind of cheap, and electricity is pretty good. But from there, I think we're going to try and push through a lot of these tier 2 society techs that we don't have yet, and get mutual funds, steel frame buildings, and very importantly, human rights. That way we can go multiculturalism. Maybe less important here on Japan, because we already have a large population, and the reason you go multiculturalism is to the reason you go human rights is to enact multiculturalism to pull in more migrants. But I'm thinking that we do want to go for an early malaria prevention push, and in order to kind of facilitate this, we do need to eat up at least half the tier 3 techs to make going ahead of time for malaria prevention to be more viable. And so we're going to be doing this. We're going to be trying to stay on speed 5 because I am thinking that this is generally a better viewer experience, and so we'll unpause here and get going into the run. So, we now have a max economies of scale throughput bonus of 50. So the first thing we're going to be doing is going to be trying to ramp that up. We're going to focus on the tools first. So this is a 38, 39, 40, 41, and we're going to put that up to 51. Now the reason why we're doing this is because we really want the mining to expand specifically, and so doing this will make the mining more profitable for the auto queue, and it'll help kick things off, and we'll also get this up to 51 as well. And so with our deliberate queue, we are focusing, we got these universities, we're doing a little bit on the paper in order to help those universities. We got some of the auto expansion going in, but for the stuff we're focused on and doing ourselves, it's these tooling workshops up to level 51. We'll also double check and make sure they're auto expanding, which I'm sure they are. And once these tooling workshops finish to 51, then it's going to be time to get the textile mills here to 51. And so this is coming up to 35, 40, 41, 51. And this type of thing, the auto queue will pick up the fact that we're expanding a ton of these, and we'll hopefully put down some railways. It seems that this is how they operate. Let's take a look at our infamy. We're at 0 infamy, so we're actually going to take a quick save, and I believe the plan was to go for Oranje. Oranje has some of the most gold. I think it's tied for most gold in the game in terms of the state that they have. We have this problem here. And we already fought Portugal a little bit, and so we would have to fight maybe Zulu in order to allow us to go into Oranje. Now, is this a decent thing? Well, Zulu has about 60 coal here, and so it's a decent province. They also have quite a bit of manufacturing because they are a single province guy, which generally means that they built up pretty high with their free 5 construction. They only have a level 1 port, so this is kind of nice, and once we take them out, we will damage relations with Oranje enough that we will be able to go after Oranje. And specifically what we're focused on Japan is we really have a large population already, and so going after high population China states, while it's tempting to maybe go after Beijing, is maybe not the highest priority, and instead resources are really important. And in Oranje, you notice the 16 gold mines. I believe that was 15 in the wiki information, so I guess we need to find some updated information on how many mines can appear. But they have coal, iron, and a lot of gold, and the gold is going to help us out in the long term. So I'm thinking we're going to conquer Zululand. Now, before, we've been kind of leaning into maybe vassalizing a lot more, and so we might vassalize Oranje and conquer Zululand. The reason why is it seems that great powers, man oh man, do they like joining against you when they can annex one of your subjects that is an unrecognized power, and so we're just going to go for conquer. It's a bit unfortunate. I would rather go, you know, this vassalize into annexing type of play pattern in general. I find it much preferable. I also think that it's a little bit more realistic in this type of stuff, but we see that when we declare war on them, we get a we have the diplomatic play penalty thing. So if we look at Oranje now, we will have neutral relations. So this means we can declare war on Oranje after this, which is going to be quite good. Return state in the Pacific coast. Looks like Mexico's having a little bit of a bad time. I think Mexico would actually be a good one to bankroll. So we're going to come in here and we're going to come into the declare interest. We're going to remove this interest and put it in Mexico. And we're going to go for... because there's not... the shipping lanes to Mexico are actually quite short for us in order to get kind of here. And so I think that this is a decent shout. I also think that... maybe we want to expand here, so we'll kind of just put that around there. We do already have a native interest here in the Arabian Peninsula, which is going to be good. And I think that the real big story is we were basically getting just baseline innovation, and now we're up to 124 innovation, 170 uncapped. The uncapped innovation is going to go towards, if we take a look in here, it's going to increase our technology spread, so our natural spread is going to be increased. It is negatively modified by being an unrecognized major power, but we are also just getting much more spread. And before we built this, we were on like 65 before we built all these unis. Now we're on 170, with some of it getting split to the natural progression. So we should be flying on these techs now that we have this level 51 university, and we're not even fully done. I think it's important to emphasize here in the university. Ooh. Is that new? There's so many boats. It's beautiful. Is that new? That they have all these shipping lanes? That's so cool. Okay, I think that's new. Either that or that's not the type of thing I pay attention to, which is also true. So we get a little fight with Zululand. Now, let's take a quick look here. And I wanted to just point something out for the university. For the university, if we take a look at our costs here, 2/3 of our cost is in the wages themselves, and only 1/3 is in the paper. When we get a larger and larger throughput bonus, this increases the amount of paper and the overall output. And so because wages are such a high proportion of what you're paying for here, this is going to be extremely good to have this throughput bonus on the university. This is also true with the government administrations. We have a little bit of a native uprising, so we'll kind of handle it. Looks like we got it in a couple spots. Just a little bit of border guard. We'll split up our forces and set them out to do and handle that. We should be able to push pretty comfortably into them here. Now, we are still losing money, but I'm hoping we can kind of pull up the nose on that a little bit. We are going to be expanding the Voice of the Nation. Now that's a cool anthem. We are going to be expanding quite a lot the economy over the course of, you know, the next little bit. And we nat spread rotary valve engine. I'm thinking we don't want to implement this. We're going to take a look at, yeah, we still have a lot of peasants and unemployed and such. And when you have that, enacting or using rotary valve engine is generally not going to be super, super good. And so we will just stay off of it for now. Although I suppose we could enact it specifically in places like Hokkaido, right, which just doesn't have a lot of labor. And you see the rotary valve engine is profitable here because this place can barely employ. Unfortunately. Not a lot of... We get a constitutional reform party. And we break out here. Ooh. Now, what are we trying to do here? I believe... Oh, we're just going to... Because the election formed and we got the constitutional reform party, that bricked our legitimacy a whole ton. So we're going to come in here and we're going to do this for now. Just to be high legitimacy. We have a lot more authority here, so we're going to put in a consumption tax. We can actually even do this, and then put in another... we could do this, and then put in another consumption tax, and decrease it back down. And we're in good shape here. We're making a lot of money. Money moves. We are draining the investment pool, so we're not going to expand construction just yet. And we're also going to be having it... What is this unassignment from the front? Very annoying. Big annoy. We're going to move this guy over here. It's because the general died. We actually just made a video this morning talking about the Dev Diary number 79, where they said they were going to deal with this. Where, you know, you have a general die, the front gets bricked, and look at this. It's just catastrophic. We have to wait 5 days for our guy to get over there, and in the meantime, we just get absolutely shellacked over here. I'm thinking that we just going to land behind with one of these guys, actually. Which guy has not gotten here yet? Kenkichi, we will land with him. In the back here. We still have them partially occupied, so we'll probably enforce before he gets the landing off, but this will be okay. And we get kindly blurred in this letter. We will take the lagging negative effect if the Industrialists have an enormous amount of clout, which they do. So we'll take the lagging effect. He gets decreased popularity, which is going to decrease our authority quite a bit. We'll get rid of this. Maybe we shouldn't have done that on the basis that it decreases authority based on this guy's popularity. And we conquer Zululand. So we're going to go our handy dandy smacky wacky button. And we are going to reset the PMs here in Zululand. And we'll also reset them in Transvaal. Yeah, let's reset them in Transvaal as well. And now we, as long as we keep damaging relations with Oranje, even if they're improving relations, we will be able to declare war on them later. And I think we're just going to vassalize Oranje because they are inland. It seems to be the case that the powers will only join if they can annex them. And so because it's an inland power, it's going to be harder to annex. And so we will look to slowly integrate them. I believe we still have quite a bit of turmoil here, which is going to impede our ability to construct anything, and so we're not going to build up those gold mines yet, but we are going to be hopeful for the future for those. Now, we are running negative convoys, we have a bit of trade routes, and we are paying a bit for the port connections as well, because we're starting to have a bit of an overseas empire. This is, in particular, one of the reasons why we wanted to trade with Mexico, who we're going to improve relations with. And I think Liberia, so we could just invite them to the customs union straight up, so we're going to do this. I was going to say something about bankrolling them and inviting them. We're actually going to take a little pause here. We're going to go diplomatic actions, and we're going to see who is close to joining the customs union. And this is kind of a good way to go about things. And you can see there's a bunch of powers that would be willing if we had an obligation with them. But there are a lot of these small bally powers, and none of them are too important. I think in general, I think unrecognized or recognized powers don't like to join or can't join. Our literacy is cranking up pretty high. We notably have a huge amount of education access. If we go into the modifiers, you'll see 52% education access, which is enormous. That's more than you'd get from a level 5 public school. But what we have driving this is, if we take a pause, a big part of this is in fact the Mosque of Jene, which is giving us 22% education access. I feel it's an important one to keep pointing out. And it looks like we've finally drained... Oh, nope, this isn't fully drained yet. And we're losing money, we're hemorrhaging money, but I think we can hold on to this and try and weasel our way out of this. If we just kind of wait and get into it. Our economy is growing by at a pretty quick clip, so I think we can build into this. Russia wants a defensive pact. Now, they've been offering this all game. I think we're going to say no. I think we want to actually fight Russia, so we're actually going to look at diplomacy, and we're going to look who are they rivaling, and they are rivaling Great Britain. And so it's going to be a lot easier for us to declare war on Russia for stuff. And we might even start damaging relations with them, because I'm thinking they're generally the softest target to go for recognition, and barring kind of a weird situation, it's we're gonna probably be going after them. It's really hard to get it on Austria specifically, and we unlock the boom boom booms, so we're gonna turn all this stuff on, and then we're gonna take a look at attack. Now we're turning this on because is this profitable yet? No, it's not. It would make more cannons, but this is fine. And we're going to turn on dynamite for the construction, which is going to kind of help save us a little bit. And we are going to, more importantly, we're going to turn on this. And so that takes up more... what does that take up more of? Let's take a quick look at the PM. It's going to add a lot more... sulfur, so in order to make sure that this is profitable, we're also going to turn on the boom booms in the sulfur places. Oop, we're going to turn this on as well. And we're going to turn it on in the gold mines. There's not a lot of gold mines, We're not going to join Russia's customs union. And then we're going to take a look at tech. Now, if you don't research tech, it's not the end of the world. You will increase the natural spread. But I'm thinking that, okay, we're kind of paying, we can't really afford to effectively increase construction, which is what reinforced concrete would do with the throughput bonus. Although it would drain more from the investment pool, be efficient because there's less wages. I don't think we want to go this, though. Which would be kind of, we could go electrical capacitors. Sawmills is particularly good. Why don't we take a quick look at our price of our softwood and see if it's really high. We do have a really high softwood price. Now we are importing it from a couple people. We're going to import it from Xing as well. I think what we're going to do... Home Affairs is always a nice one to increase, but we might want to float some of this bureaucracy, because we'll run a shortage, and we don't really want to increase the bureaucratic centers. I think we're going to go for some level 2 tier tech, even though it's not that great. I think we're going to push realism a little bit faster, and then we're going to go labor movement, which allows us to get regulatory bodies, which will allow us to increase our technology spread, or our technology active research, which is going to be quite nice. And then realism, we will be able to swap the PMs on our arts academies, which will be nice. But mainly, we're just trying to get closer and closer to being able to get into the tier 3 society tech here. This is the main purpose. And then, if something other than rubber is natural spreading, we might have to go for, like, so if electrical generation starts natural spreading, we'll go for that. If we happen to not spread steam donkey, we'll go for pump jacks. Something like this, I think, will be our strategy. And this is going to be, for making money, you want to do this number plus this number, and it's looking like we're starting to pull up here and get into pretty good shape. We made the iron a lot cheaper, which might be what's driving this in particular, boost our industries further, off of the dynamite, because we are now making a lot more of it, and also we're getting more profitable buildings on the chem plants, for example. We're going to put another 5 chem plants in here, and we're going to put 3 at the front, and then we're going to put a railroad at the front here because we know we're going to need it. Now, it seems that the auto queue is pretty good about building railroads when you have a bunch of stuff in the queue there for the buildings. So this is going to be good because this place has a bunch of excess infrastructure, and so does this, and we've put in pretty big stuff into the queue there. You notice these 17 textile mills, and so this is going to be nice. I believe we're decaying quite a bit of infamy off of our little going after Zulu, but we will be saving, I think, and then vassalizing these guys. And so will we go up to 25? We will not. So we're going to save, and we're going to vassalize them. And so this will be quite nice. We will annex them later. Overall, this accrues much less infamy, and we haven't been expanding like this already because we are terrified of the great powers joining in against us pretty incessantly when they can annex Oranje, but you notice they're not going to have access to Oranje because Oranje is inland, and so we're going to go after Oranje this way. We could have done the same with Transvaal, but we wanted to try and get onto the gold, iron, and coal faster, and so this way we're going to be getting a lot of money. We're starting to get a lot of resources. We are kind of securing a bit of oil in here and here. I think that we're going to need to find a little bit of a bigger target sometime soon here, and we might be doing like an open market ban slavery type of play against the Ottomans, and what we will do is specifically release Iraq for us to pick up. But we unlock this tech. I'm not sure exactly how to evaluate this tech in terms of how good it is, because what it does is unlocks. So first of all, we're going to go realist art, and this is going to make the stuff more profitable, and this is fine. It's going to use more paper, but what you really get here is you go from being 850 academics and 150 of this to being able to juice the investment pool better through capitalists here, or to switch to independent artists to empower the Intelligentsia. What we're going to do is, if the Intelligentsia is under 20% clout, which they are, we're going to want to do this one, I believe, because we really want to get their clout high enough to be getting their double bonus. And also, this is, I think, going to make the auto queue like building these less, because they are not aristocratic owned anymore. Now, we won't be getting as much investment pool contribution, but okay. This is kind of fine, and we'd notably take a whole bunch of clout away from the landowners, who we are not fans of. Now, I believe we did have an election, and I guess I was not paying attention for this. I think this is probably fine. We'll be a little bit more legitimate. It's not going to take us into a new tier, though, so why don't we just sit tight with what we got? And we will take a look at what we can do. Now, before we get human rights, where we can get multiculturalism, we do not want to go for either census suffrage or universal suffrage. So we want to sit tight. We're going to take a look at the other laws. We would want to... Ooh, wait, who supports multiculturalism? The Intelligentsia, because they have a radical. Was our thing inverted? I don't know what causes this inversion, but it's really annoying. So usually this is at the top. Or no, wait, no. It's not inverted. I'm just used to playing on the inverted thing. Yeah. Private health insurance would be okay. And we can pass it to make the Industrialists happy. The Industrialists are already happy, so I think I'm going to hold off for a point where we want to specifically make them happy. Yeah, we're just going to hold off on passing anything right now. We are still... We're overall kind of break-even-ish, and we have a decent reserve and a decent investment pool, actually. So let's take a look and see if we can expand construction. I believe we kind of expanded it all the way here. And we get a fight with Oranje. Now, we could build a couple construction centers here. So we'll do that. And we're going to vassalize... Ooh, we should have gone for war reps as well on Oranje, but this is okay. Not too big a deal. We're going to come in here and... this place is going to be the most effective. We're going to take a quick look at our colonies as well. Now, these colonies will take some time to do, but this one's going to be real fast. So we're going to do this one ourselves, which is going to give us part of Zululand. This one is notably just regular malaria, so we get it through at normal speed. And there's a little volatility here, but this is largely on whether or not we can get enough transfer to be going in good. Now, these are the ones in Kansai, so what we're going to do, we don't, I think, have enough excess infrastructure in Kansai. We're going to build a couple of these at the front, because we're going to need them in just a minute. Probably should have been a little bit more proactive on that front. Just kind of trying to cruise through and just look at some things here. Standard of living is rising. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have most of our needs be in clothes, which is one of the reasons we're expanding clothes, but we are expanding the croissants a little bit more than we normally do, kind of experimenting with this, and we're doing them here where they are auto-expanding. So we're going to put another 5 in the back of the queue. It's not quite at the point where we want to just straight up tick it up to 51, but we will be kind of looking to do that in the near future. I believe we have a lot of infamy. It's 15, so we could do a little bit of a naughty play. Not too naughty a naughty play. I think we're going to damage relations with Ethiopia here, look to open their market eventually. Now, we could go after Congo. Congo's generally a decent one to go after. We're going to damage relations with them. Now, the Ottomans, the kebab, we cannot start a play to open their market or do anything like this. There is a decent amount of oil in Basara here, but I believe this is going to cost us quite a bit of infamy, and Austria is likely to side with the enemy. Radical Sardinia Piedmont. Where is Rome here? Where is the Vatican? Do I not understand geography? Oh, Jesus. I don't understand geography. It would be nice to pick up the 100 authority here, and... I mean, we don't have an interest in this region. This is probably not much of a priority. We should still focus on resources a little bit, I think. Although we are kind of, after getting Transvaal and Oranje, we are sitting kind of pretty on that front. We could go after Booligan. We could go after Booligan and vassalize them, which would be significantly less infamy than, you know, full annexing them, which is like 12. Maybe we just conquer these guys. I kind of want to vassal Booligan, but the problem is, or Belungen, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Let's actually sound it out. Belungen. I guess it's probably Belungen. But I think that if we do this, we'll start getting a lot of great powers joining in plays against us. But we do want that sweet, sweet oil that's there. Now, I believe a little bit comes in here. We can damage relations. I know there's a decent amount in Venezuela, but I think we might want to try and Diplo work that in. We could also bankroll Mexico and try and give them the slow business. They notably are not too many nodes away from us in terms of maintaining integrity of our market. We could go after Belungan here. I really want to vassalize them. I fear the great powers, but we can vassalize them and look to annex them relatively quickly in a relative quick turnaround. I think that this is what we're going to do. But we're going to do this, and we are going to... Ooh, we're faced against the Dutch East Indies. Do we want to do that? I don't think we have too big a problem with it. We can make them release Borneo, which will give us another place to conquer. This is kind of a good place to expand because we're so close, so it's not going to use a lot of convoys. And we could go after something like Dainan, though. That's a lot to vassalize, but we can open Siam's market. They start off isolationist. Something like this. We could also go after Johor, Siak. I think Siak has a decent amount of oil. I can't remember which province the oil's in, or which province is good for the oil. Siak, notably, if we conquer them, would give us kind of a bit of a land access into a lot of the Dutch East Indies, which would allow us to enforce on them better. So maybe if we just did this, and then this way, if we have to fight the Dutch East Indies, we have a little bit of a better spot. There's not a ton of resources there, though. Or I think there's oil. There's also rubber. Probably not terrible. There's a lot of resources here, though. And this would be useful, but we don't have bad enough relations with them. We could finish these guys off, but that's really not kind of where it's at, I don't think. No, let's go after Siak here. Or we could just wait, tick down our infamy, and go after something bigger. Let's actually just chill. Because we can do an 11 infamy war whenever, you know? But I'm thinking I want to secure more... Really kind of want to fight Russia. These guys are cooperative, but not very happy with us. Congo is improving relations while we're damaging relations. This is going to make things a little bit annoying. Now we are making money, so money moves, as it were. And we get labor movement. So now we can pass regulatory... Or we can't because we don't have a powerful enough trade union. I mean, we could go for universal suffrage here. It will radicalize the landowners. The industrialists will become big unhappy, but not super unhappy. So maybe what we're going to do here is private health insurance to make the industrialists happy, and then we'll do universal or census suffrage following that. Let's take a look here, what we can do in the tech tree. I'm a little tempted to go after steel rail cars or electrical generation, but I think we're going to come back here and, you know, we're kind of getting close here to getting the full mat spread off. We'll do the postal suffrage, or this one. Actually, I think organized sports is probably better for us right now. But we'll do this, into then steel frame buildings. Because we're kind of capped at the ability we can expand construction, and steel frame is just generally good. And so keeping this in mind, we will want to expand steel more than what is profitable. So we're just going to take a quick look around. We'll also want to expand glass, so we're going to add some glass here. And then, where is our steel? Is this our tall steel? We're going to come in here, and we're going to look, and we're going to want to start getting the steel up nice and tall. Oh, so Kansai and Kanto. Kanto, I don't think has anything it's specialized in yet, so we will just come in here and we'll add 10 steel at the back. We are encouraging manufacturing there, and so we should be kind of kicking off pretty soon here. Now we see that we have a nice big authority balance, so we'll increase taxes a little bit, or increase payment to kick out officials, and then we'll come back down, and we'll run a little bit of this negative, but this is fine. It's important to note, I think, that a lot of these, we're taxing all the luxury stuff. And if we take a look here, the standard of living you care about is the lower rung pops, so you don't want to tax any of these goods, but you notice we're taxing a lot of these goods that are being consumed by our richer pops, and so this is what we are doing to kind of increase the tax rate effectively on them, and we want them to bear most of the price of the taxes rather than them, which is kind of why we're taxing in this way and why you never really want to tax grain. If you tax grain, the people will leave. And we're making a lot of money here. And because we don't want to, you know, we can't really expand construction domestically because our construction centers are capped, we'll start expanding like this. Some military a little bit, because we will eventually want a bigger military. And so we'll expand there, and let's take a look. We will make nice multiples of 5. We will delete the Zululand things. Let's delete the Zululand barracks. There we go. And so we're trying to, you know, spend a little bit more money, not a lot, a bit more money. I suppose we could go for another level 51 uni as well. This is perhaps kind of a good way to go. So we'll just do a level 5 uni, kind of prepping that. We'll be putting that there. And we'll be dramatically expanding, you know, the educated people. Now, we are thinking of what our next war looks like. We can't open up their market. We don't have an adjacency with Sokoto, so can't open up their market. We have good relations with them. We're damaging relations with a whole bunch of people. With Oranje, we don't need to damage relations anymore. We get rubber mastication, but this isn't going to do too much for us at this juncture. I think we will put down a little bit of rubber in the queue, just so that when we eventually get something that's rubber-oriented, which we're not even researching anyways, well, it looks like the auto queue feels that this is fine to do anyways, so we'll let them do it, I guess. Unfortunate. So now we are kind of at a point where we do want to be thinking a little bit forward. So what we could also do is go after Macron to get into Clat and through here. This is a decent one as well. Getting adjacent here and here. Persia has a lot of oil over here also, so if we could eventually get them into the customs union, this would be great. We don't have an interest in this region, but we should have a little bit. We're going to get more declared interest off the back of us building up the navy a little. I mean, the plan right now is we're going to go after Siak, if nothing else. Looks appealing, and so this is... We can also decrease taxes to kind of juice up the economy and re-inject money into it. Ripper, unfortunate. We need to bring the killers to... So we'll get enactment chance, or a lot of enactment chance, or... I think we'll take the middle of the road here. And so we'll get private health insurance very quick. Looks like we can afford to take this hit on the authority, so we'll do that. Reinforced wooden ships. Now, often this isn't profitable, but it will swap everything over to being capitalist owned. You'd see it's just barely not profitable, so we'll do this. It's going to make a lot more clippers, and we could even export these clippers if we wanted. Which might be what we speaking of exports, we're going to take a quick look at our trade routes. We're going to look at what's productive, what's not. These are resources we kind of want to be importing. We will stop, or is that exporting? We will stop exporting hardwood, because our hardwood, we have a sufficient need to export it, and we will come in here and look at the highlights, and we have considerable import demand for, you see, 2 rural goods here, and these are really the ones we want to focus on importing because we do not want our auto queue to be picking up a bunch of this stuff. Unfortunately, not very much of it's profitable. We'll take in from the Omani and the Mexican market, and we'll take in this kind of from several markets. These do look profitable. We're gonna do it based on productivity, and then we're also just gonna kind of look and see, do we have any zero convoy ones? And so even though this isn't very productive, we'll still do it because it's going to make a little bit of money. We will also import fish, which is going to make our grocers a bit more profitable. which is good because they are kind of decreasing our dependence on grain, which is going to make it less likely that the auto queues can build in grain. Now, we don't want to import groceries. We want to let our own market build groceries. And we can export here, probably porcelain. Let's export it to Qing and to Austria. We would love to be friends with Austria. We'll also export it to the British. And so now most of the exports are going to be on zero convoy trains. So we'll just do this. And this will be quite nice. Now we're going to do some organized sports. The techs are starting to come a lot faster with the level 51 uni. I think we're going to level 51 another uni here. Again, getting level 51 is particularly important, or it's particularly valuable. And that's going to be a little bit back in the queue, so it's not going to pop off immediately. Now, we could also decrease taxes. Let's take a look at our government. We won't get kicked into a new, better tier if we decrease taxes, and we'll make a bit less money, but this is going to increase the investment pool contribution. It will also increase consumption, which will drive up the prices of all of our goods, that we are, all of our consumer goods, which is going to make all the buildings more profitable. Let's take a look if we have any furniture manufacturers that are popping off. We have one in Chubu, so we're going to add another 10 here, and we're going to take a closer look at it. And we're going to put it on auto expand. We have a decent amount of rubber in the market from all this, and we've cut Portugal off here, which is actually pretty nice here. Damaging relations with several people. They're all improving relations with us. But I think that after steel frame buildings, we are going to want to go human rights, so that we can go multiculturalism. Let's take a quick look at our queue. Or actually, not our queue, but let's come in here into Zululand and take a look at how's the turmoil doing. It's still pretty bad. We still have the minus 75% state construction efficiency, so we don't want to come in on it too quickly. And we can private health insurance, which is going to kick us up here to a bureaucracy deficit. I believe we have the latest and greatest PMs on all of our things. And so we are going to first check that the capital has insufficient taxes. And by the capital, I mean Kanto, which does not. So Kansai has the biggest insufficient tax capacity. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to add 5 at the front and 5 at the back. This should more than handle it and give us a little bit of a buffer. And then we are already kind of cranking this out. Literacy is absolutely flying up, which is great. It's also a big part of that is the SOL, which is also rising. It's unfortunate the gold fields were depleted. And we should be getting pretty low on the infamy here. So we're going to need to think about what we want to do. Now, let's take a look at Great Qing. And do we want to go after Great Qing, or do we want to try and customs union them? Let's take a look. We're actually pretty close to customs unioning them. But someone else might customs union them first, and so the question is do we want to go for the Shaanxi province of theirs, or do we want to maybe, I think if we fight Russia, we might go after Perm. Let's take a look at Russia's military. I'm pretty sure Russia's military is way stronger than ours. 2,400 versus, 300, yeah. So I don't think it's quite in the cards for us yet to be thinking about that. If we beat Russia in a war, we should wake up and apologize, is what I'm saying. Now, these guys are generally pretty good to early on vassalize, but I'm pretty sure they're outside of... Ooh, they're not outside of our reach yet. In terms of, like, a reasonable infamy amount. Although Argentina's a little bit pricey, but maybe we go after Argentina and vassalize them. And then we have a really long decay. And so this could maybe be a decent play. So we're going to come and we're going to look at our diplomatic interests. And unfortunately, we're going to say, well, we're going to say goodbye to this one and put in on this one. I think this is fine. We have this kind of route here on the convoys to there. So that'll work for us. It'll be good enough. We are running a bit of that. So we're going to come in here and we're going to remove that one. And now we're losing a bit of money here. The investment pool is kind of neutral, so it's minus 50k. Don't think we've finished these unis yet, so I'm not sure exactly what the shift is about, but fair enough. Let's take a look. Are we paying a lot in subsidies? We are. We would love to decrease these subsidies. Unfortunately, all the rural places are using the rails that we have available. I think we can switch up to dynamite in a couple places. Here. Booming industries. Booming. I think we'll take the extra throughput on the coal mines, which will probably cause us to run a shortage of explosives, because it increases the inputs required for the explosives, but do love me some mines. Nope, well, it doesn't cause a shortage. Now, one problem, we're just putting 2 at the front and 5 at the back of the queue. One problem we do have, though, is the fertilizer is very cheap, and we have been trying to export fertilizers to decrease, to make the chem plants more profitable, but as you can see, we're having a little bit of problems. We're going to be exporting to the Mexican market here, and the Russian market as well, and this Chile is improving relations. Well, we don't want the relations to get too good in Chile, and we definitely want to go multiculturalism later, although I'm not sure exactly what that event does. And we can make them a vassal. We have to fight Brazil. I don't think we have a stronger army than Brazil. And so maybe we just need to really focus on, well, we're kind of close. We're in the same neighborhood. But let's see, Chile. Who do you have as your friends? You don't have anyone as your friend. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to need to start expanding the military a little bit more here, I think. We already have quite a few coming in, but I think we're going to go after Chile, and we're going to vassalize them. And we're going to save before we do this, because we don't want fingers in our pie. Now, currently, the only great power, I think, that has an interest here down here in Patagonia, right, is Great Britain most of the time. Oh, France does as well. If we take a look at Great Britain, they are protective of us. France is cautious. France might join against us. We'll see what they want if they do. And maybe we can work something out. My biggest complaint about the game right now, as far as attracting new players, is that diplomatic play is kind of our weird system. And now we're making a ton of money here. Definitely want to try and get this gold reserve down, and we want to increase construction to do this, but we are currently researching steel frame buildings, so this is kind of going to be what we go towards, which is also why we're building up all this steel actively. I think we got to put in the war reps as well. Now we could sway Great Britain. What would they want? A treaty port or an obligation? Okay. Now you are likely to back down, although you do have the gold reserves. They feel very pessimistic about this. Why don't you give a little bit of a back down, my guy? Save some for the next fight. Chile backs down, and we get ourselves a nice little vassal here, and a decent chunk of infamy that we can now just let decay. Very, very comfortably. And, well, we vassalize Chile. But I think the bigger story of what's been going on here, though, is that we are absolutely flying with the tech now that we have, you know, the increased, we now have 282 uncapped. This is without these being built, and we'll get up to 500-ish uncapped, and we have more than enough money to support this after going proportional taxation. I think we might actually kick these unis to the top here, just to try and massage along some of this tech. Now, it will not increase our active tech research speed, so it's not going to make us get steel frame buildings any faster. But it will do is it'll increase our natural spread, so identified documents, which is nat spreading, you see at 41 to 123, that will come faster. Also, as our literacy rate comes up, this is what gates our active research, but we are going this one next. I think we will keep... I really want the Landowners and the Intelligentsia to break up. Unfortunately, the Landowners have a reformer. If that reformer died, they would break up. But I'm thinking... Well, is this way more legitimate? It is. Just kicking the petite bourgeoisie out, but then they join the Constitutional Reform Party. I guess we're going to just do that for now. And we're going to sit on it. As soon as we get human rights, we will probably try and go multiculturalism. And so this is going to be kind of where we're at with that. So we will need more steel. I believe we were building it up here, right? And it is making a big balance, but I think we're gonna start coming on up. This will bring it to 31, 41, 51. And we'll put a couple of these at the front. And hopefully the auto queue kind of manages the couple more. And we will probably want to annex Oranje soon-ish. Let's take a look here. Just checking in on the turmoil. How much the construction efficiency is a bit of a bother. We are incorporating, and we've almost finished incorporating here. We started very early. It was a very cheap incorporation, so this is why we went for it. I suppose in theory we could have incorporated some of these as well. And maybe we ought to. I mean, they do have a decent amount of this stuff. I'm not paying that for some prestige. I'm not interested. Now, effectively, we're up 200k, but we are going to be quickly swapping over PMs to steel frame buildings, which is going to be quite a thing. Now, Great Qing wants an alliance. I don't think we want an alliance with Great Qing. I think we maybe want them in the customs union. But if we get an alliance with Great Qing, we can kind of protect them a little bit, maybe, and prevent people from going after them. So this is perhaps a risky little bit of a thing. Ooh, electrical generation natural spreads to us. That's fantastic. So we are going to come in here. I think we're going to look to 51 in here in the power plants. We're just going to add 20 to the queue. Now we're going to need a bit more infrastructure here on the back of that. So we're just going to add a couple at the front. And we're going to... We get munitions plants too. The auto queue will be more than happy to pick this up. We have been having trouble sourcing ammo in general, but we're going to let the auto queue handle it. You notice we're starting to really pop off on researching all these texts through the Nat spread because we have built these two universities up super high, and we get identification documents, which Nat spread to us, and now we're getting steel frame building. Civilizing mission is natural spreading to us at a pretty good clip. And so we are going to start swapping up the steel frame buildings. So we're going to swap up these construction centers here to steel frame. And we're going to swap the ones in Kansai up to steel frame. Which is going to put us... We're looking okay on prices, because we proactively built up extra steel and we are kind of working on the tools. The boom booms are going to be a little bit of a problem, so what we'll do is we will swap up this here. And now you see the boom booms are quite expensive, but we'll build 4 more of these at the front. So this is 27, or 37. What is this? This will be 41, and then 51 for max economies of scale throughput bonus here. And then we will just kind of wait and look to expand construction. We did get over at 1k now, and we're going to be looking to crank it up to 2, 3, 4k, this type of stuff. We will also put in the queue, expanding the military quite a bit. So we're currently bringing it up to 30. We're going to bring it up to 50 instead. And we're also going to come in here. We're just going to take a look at the barracks, and we're going to kind of get these numbers up on a few of these. We're going to go 10 on these. Let's go 25, actually. Well, actually, let's spread out. Do 10 here and 10 here. Nice little spread out. And we are floating a bunch of extra authorities, so let's come in here and let's put it in on luxury clothes. And we're still making good money here, so what we will do is we will increase construction a bit more by swapping over more to the steel frame buildings. Now, we don't want to be running a shortage of anything, but we currently, see, now we have expensive goods in a couple of sectors, and so we will try and bring down the price of these goods and then swap over more to being higher construction. We notably are building the steel mills here, and the chem plants, a ton of chem plants here, and we are having very, very cheap fertilizer. So let's come in and let's see if we can adjust any of this. So I'm assuming that we finished a munitions plant domestically, so we are going to delete all of our import routes for munitions. We are notably, the export of porcelain is no longer very good, and so is the export of clothes. Kind of tempted to leave these because we would want these to revive at some point, and these kind of influence our market in a way that we like, so we'll just leave these in place for now. And we are kind of break even because it's, again, this number plus this number. But a big part of that is because of the expensive construction goods, which are going to be incentivized to be built up pretty high now. So we're just looking to swap everything over to steel frame. Let's take a look at the infamy. We are down to 16. I think that we're kind of close to being able to annex them. What is our truce? 87 of October. So we'll probably, that'll be the next one, I think. The next little waro. Ooh, I think we can afford that hit, but we don't like the Buddhist monks very much. Oh, well, we lost the authority anyways, I guess. We'll take this one. We'll remove a consumption tax. All will be well. Now, I think it's worth noting, we've gone up to 482 uncapped. So we started out, I think this episode, maybe 60, 70 uncapped, and now we're in 400s. So this is going to, we're dramatically increasing the technology, how fast we're getting techs. We are fully capped on our active spread, which is influenced, our cap is determined by literacy. But our natural spread, it was like, just when we last checked, it was in the 40s to 183, and now it's 61 to 183. The spillover goes into your natural spread. And so we'll look to kind of do this. Steel railway cars also gets researched here. Now, unfortunately, well, this is going to decrease our subsidies, but unfortunately, we have really expensive steel right now. And so I think we're going to look to 51 to steal some other place as well. And also, the iron's going to be becoming expensive off the back of this. We're not going to put it on Transvaal yet, because it's going to take forever to construct. But what we're going to do is we are going to expand the iron in... Well, Hokkaido doesn't have a lot of labor available. That's the problem. We're going to finish out the ones in Tohoku, I guess. And then we are going to go in industry, where we're going to put it up in Kansai a little bit more. Rubber Rush, you're telling me. I'm going to finish these furniture manufacturers, which is going to be nice. Bringing, I believe, that furniture kind of closer to 51. Qing starts an import route of furniture. It's not October yet. I'm going to take a look at our infamy. I think we're, yeah, just going to annex Oranje and then look to annex... did we vassalize someone over here? No, we did not. We're going to not annex Chile. We're going to let them continue to get all of that land, although we will maybe want to puppet Argentina. This is often a good one. It's a lot better when you're a European power, because when you eventually do annex them, you can incorporate them in 5 years, and this is not the case. Workers' Union, Trade Union, Work to Rule has been activated, which is fantastic. I think we had this idea of swapping up to census suffrage. So can we reform the government and try that now? It's not very acceptable, but we're going to try and get on to census suffrage here. Which is going to make the trade unions happier, but unfortunately, oh, looks like the industrialists are still happy enough. There's going to be a little bit of opposition, though, so this is going to be unfortunate. We'll see if we can get... We're chasing down a little bit more legitimacy by trying to switch to the later voting PMs, or voting things. Oop. I don't think we have any electricity yet, so... What did we just get? Oh, I didn't realize we had that. That's fine. Oh, that's fine. We got rifles. So we do want to go rifling, not even considering the cost, really, because it's going to be capitalist owned. And we get rifling completing, modernizing to get arsenal, and we'll get tech spread to repeaters. Notably, we're going to start picking up a lot more military tech because our natural spread has gotten quite a bit bigger. Looks like we're going to be going fieldworks triage over the next little bit. Human rights is about to get researched, so maybe we didn't want to go census suffrage. We're going to take one tick of census suffrage, and then we're going to try and go multiculturalism. And we're going to take a look here. Now we have this problem here, yes. So, I don't think we're And maybe we take off on services, which is going to be kind of one of our bigger ones. We could push through civilizing mission faster. This is kind of fine. And then go mutual funds. And then after this, we might want to come back to Iron Hearth process. Because that's going to be a good one, because we do have problems with the steel prices. Now, what we're going to do, a bunch of these steel ones are finishing, so we're going to switch in the capital from railroads to steel passenger carriages, which are going to be more profitable and will also help decrease the price of wood. We're also going to do this at the old capital, which is also a place that has a lot of infrastructure. We get civilizing mission here unlocked, so we're going to switch here. And this increased profitability on those steel passenger carriages. Ooh, we don't have enough here to put up. So we will come into here and put some of these up into the next level. And we should be able to declare our war on Oranje now. We're going to annex them. We're going to save and then annex them. That's the strategy. And it looks like China's going to join us. That's right, because China is an ally. We don't really need their assistance, but this is moral support is there. Now we are up to 75 battalions, so we're up to a army power projection of 580. And so I think once we get a lot of this steel business sorted out, we will, you know, be in good shape for this. We kind of got the economy sorted out this episode and really cranked up on the, you know, our tech that we are getting. France sides with Oranje. What do you want, France? Windward Coast Treaty Port. I mean, we would not absolutely despise giving France a treaty port. Windward Coast is over here, I think. They can't get to Oranje. Once they have a treaty port, they're not likely to declare in on us again for this type of thing. This is not the biggest deal, them having a treaty port. I think we're going to allow it. The treaty port becomes useless once we become a major power. It's just a little bit of dirt, and it does allow us to, you know, do this war now. France is not going to have, you know, military access with which to prevent this. And so we will do that. And we will also upgrade one of these guys to kind of help. I think we're going to upgrade him a couple times to help defend the mainland, because he is defensive strategist. And we will also come in and just generally expand the army a little bit more. We do have a couple more coming in. So this is another 40. So this is going to put us up to 115. So I guess we want another 35. Oh, that's another 20. So another 15. So 2 arms. Maybe we should have put war goals in on France. I just think there's about a 0% chance we enforce anything on France. I think we just enforce on Oranje and then we capitulate here, is I think what we're going to be doing. We do build up this so that we can increase this. Hurrah. I think I don't mind increasing home affairs a little bit. Try and get on the better side of this loyalist business. We see that we are going to run a deficit, but what we will do is we will come into Kansai and we will increase the government administration here. And we're almost at the point where we actually want to turn up and go to 51 anyways, so we'll probably do that the next time we need bureaucracy. We could have, in theory, tried to go after this on France, but I don't think we'll ever be able to enforce on them. I suppose we should have been a little bit more diligent in checking their power projection, but theirs is roughly 10 XRs. And so we will be able to enforce on Oranje, and then we are going to just capitulate. We'll declare neutrality here. We are starting to build a lot more of these inputs, and so what we will do here is swap another one up to steel frame construction. Starting to get close to having everything on steel frame construction. So this is going to be nice. Now, what else did we want to do here? I am blanking. There was something else we wanted to do. Okay, fair enough. This works for us though. Long term, we have these resources pretty well secured, and the rubber. The oil, the rubber. First you get oil, then you get the power, then you get the rubber. Something like this. Huge investment pool transfer, by the way. Just a lot of very profitable businesses. Now, unfortunately for China, they are, you know, having a little bit of trouble here. But I don't think France has... Yeah, they just want this, so we're just going to capitulate. We're going to get enforced on eventually. I think that we cannot prevent this. Let's see how much we're decaying. We can decay below 0. We're decaying 2. They know they can enforce on us. We'll just capitulate. We will save Beijing and ourselves a little bit of trouble. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we can just enable census suffrage. With this? Yeah, let's just enable it. Perfect. And now, what we're going to do is we are going to go for multiculturalism here, which is, the Buddhist monks don't like this very much, but everyone else is pretty okay with it. And the Intelligentsia, since we have a radical, we're also going to get a trade unionist who's a radical in just a second here by an event. Excuse me. Path to liberalism? Why are you not firing? Oh, your legitimacy is too low? Yikes. Ugh. Excuse you. We could do this. Which, who are we kicking out? Let's do this, and then we will do this. And now we will get this. And we will put this guy, and we will make this guy a radical. The trade unionist becomes a radical, and then we'll just increase this back up. So now he's a radical, and he's happy. The trade unionist bonus, in particular, are very, very, very strong. And we get elastics for textile mills. We get workforce ratio and manufacturing throughput. These guys are going to be having a bit of a come up here as well. And we get the utopia for the modern artist, or we're going to take some free science, bro. We have a lot of those buildings, so this is going to be good for us. And we will swap this textile mill up to elastics, which is going to cause a temporary shortage while the elastic, or while the rubber kind of employs up. But then we will start auto-building some rubber, and we're going to look to... oh, man, everything's coming up good right now. We're going to build a little bit more rubber in some of these places. Let's look where we have labor. And... let's just do that. We got the bastard. Let's go, baby. Whoa. So, this is a bit unfortunate. We are going to be fighting this, I think. What is their power projection? We could just abandon them. We're also kind of don't want to have a truce with Russia here, but let's see. Okay, let's take a look. We would love to get recognition from Russia. And they want to return this, and we could just say, see you later, bud. Which makes them upset. They also have France on their side. Yeah, I don't think we want to fight this. So we'll see what they do, but we'll likely just leave the play. Also, Russia should probably be damaging relations with us now. Can you just capitulate here? Ooh, what's this? Austria. Wants to humiliate Russia. I don't want to fight this battle, so we'll take the paper mill throughput. And we will turn another one of these on to steel frame. Kebab sides with us. What? How many do we have left to swap? Not a lot. Shikoku's another big one, and that's it. This is a bit of a World War-y thing we got going on. The thing is we just get nothing from fighting this, other than getting to keep China as our ally, which I don't even think we really care about. We're gonna let this play develop a little bit more, but we're probably just gonna leave. North German Fed sides with Russia. Yeah, well, you know, I think we're gonna step out of this one at this point. Right? Yeah, we're abandoning these boyos. Reduce relations by 50. And you know what we might do? We might go for Beijing now, because we're gonna start damaging relations. What are you trying to sway us with? Revoke claim on Sakhalin? No, thanks. Well, so here's the thing. We could try to invite them to the customs union still. I think, well, they kind of hate our guts now. But we could also damage relations, and while they are getting clapped here, we could clap them for Beijing, is kind of my thought. Or the thought process. I suppose we will decide on that next episode. For now, we will be concluding this episode. This episode, we've had a huge come up in terms of the economy. I think we've gone from like here to here, you know, nearly doubling the size of the economy. We nearly doubled construction. In fact, let's just do this so we can say we doubled construction. I think we were at 760 at the start. Now we're at 1530. So again, doubling construction. You know, this is pretty good. A lot of this was off the back of just kind of improving and kind of like settling into our proportional taxation kind of thing and just like popping off. I think another really big feature of what's happened this episode, let's take a look at this tab, is our natural spread. Our active research has gone up enormously, and our natural spread is up to, you know, 66 to 200, which is way, way, way bigger. I think it was like 12 or something at the start. We went from having, you know, around 75. I think we would have to double check this, but around 75 for our innovation to like 575, which is just a huge come up here. So this is kind of what you get, like you turn a little bit of a corner in regards to like getting to around 500 is construction, and then you just get to crank off on, you know, getting the universities to 51. We might put a few more to 51, try and really get a huge natural spread, and then off the back of that natural spread, move ahead of time on some techs in such a way that, you know, would normally be inefficient and would be inefficient, but we're just paying for that inefficiency. So we might go very early malaria prevention, which I think is often a good strategy. After we get mutual funds, we might just go malaria prevention. We'll see how things go. But for now, concluding this episode, big ups on, you know, the doubling construction and getting the universities up to really high levels in order to get a ton of innovation. Hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.